Hello everyone, this is Ahmed, your presenter, and you are watching Feel the English, Feel the Fragrance of Learning. Today we are going to analyze the essay Pilgrimage to Tawang by Verrier Elwin. Is a travelogue by Verrier Elwin. Now about the author Verrier Elwin. Now, Verrier Elwin, who is well known as an anthropologist, ethnologist, and tribal activist, was born in the year 1902, Dover, England, the son of Edmund Henry Elwin, Bishop of Sierra Leone. He completed his BA in English Literature and Language in the first class and later MA and DSc from the University of Oxford. In the year 1926, he was appointed as the vice principal of Wycliffe Hall, Oxford, and in the following year, 1927, he became a lecturer at Burton College, Oxford. He was fond of Indian culture and people, thereby knowing about the country. In the year 1927, he came to India as a missionary under Winslow. Later on, he joined the Christian Society service in Pune with an intention to spread the words of the gospel. Elwin's first connection with the tribes of India occurred when he visited central India with an Indian from Pune named Shamrao Hebel. Central India then consisted of the present states of Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and parts of eastern Maharashtra. Their findings about the region are the earliest anthropological studies of the country, India. Elwin became deeply interested in the Gona tribe of Madhya Pradesh and with his associate began to take an interest not only in their lifestyle but also in the necessity for reform them. Books of Hinduism and Hindu philosophy caught his attention a lot, and he was greatly influenced by the works of Mahatma Gandhi, Rabindranath Tagore, and other effective leaders in the field of freedom fighting. He embraced Hinduism in the year 1935 while in Gandhi's ashram. But 2 years later, he kept him away from the responsibility of Indian National Congress and all other forms of formal religion. Long before Elwin's embracing Hinduism, he started to live like a native with the tribes of Madhya Pradesh. He wanted to reform them by banishing superstition and ignorance among them. This agenda brought him up against the Sirs, and the British government harassed him in many ways, creating obstacles in his efforts at reformation. In 1932, he started an ashram at Karanjia village and he began to instruct villagers about agriculture, cleanliness, and he opened there a pharmacy for the welfare of the villagers. He thus won the trust of the natives and later on he established another ashram at Citrocot for the tribals of Pastor. In 1940, he married Kosi, a Gona tribal, and had two children, Johar and Vijay. After 9 years, in 1949, in the tribal tradition, he married Lila, the daughter of a village head of Pathangar in Nepal, Northeast Frontier Agency, now renamed as Arunachal Pradesh, where his work had taken him. His close association with the tribes allowed him to gather information about them, their culture, lifestyle, beliefs, and faith. He soon became an authority on the subject, particularly on the Gondi people. In the year 1945, the Anthropological Survey of India was established and he was appointed as the first deputy director. When India became independent, he took up Indian citizenship and the Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru appointed him as an advisor of tribal reforms for northeastern India and later became anthropological advisor to the government of NEFA, Northeast Frontier Agency, that is Arunachal Pradesh today. Elwin's work brought him to the northeast of India, north of Assam, where he traveled extensively, mixed with the people, and learned about them. Later on, he settled in Shillong and wrote about the different tribes of the northeastern region. He passed away in Shillong in 1963. His love for the land and its people is apparent in his work. In the preface to the Tribal World of Verrier Elwin, published posthumously in 1964, he has shared his feelings, views, experiences, and dreams spending with the tribal people and more. Verrier Elwin was an influential anthropologist of the 20th century. He has left behind a treasure in the form of books on the tribes of India. In 1965, he was honored with the Sahitya Academy Award and India's National Academy of Letters for his autobiography, The Tribal World of Verrier Elwin, in the English language. Now about the essay, A Pilgrimage to Tawang by Verrier Elwin. From his autobiography, The Tribal World of Verrier Elwin, published posthumously in the year 1964. A Pilgrimage to Tawang is an extracted essay, a travelogue from chapter 9, titled From Travels in the Nefa Highlands, of Verrier Elwin's autobiography, The Tribal World of Verrier Elwin, published posthumously in 1964. Here in the essay, A Pilgrimage to Tawang, Elwin describes the geographical position, natural situation, natural setup of the great highland Tawang, a picturesque place situated in a corner between Bhutan and Tibet, and his personal experience of his spiritual realization in the great monastery on the day of the Buddha Purnima. He shares each and every happenings of his journey to the beautiful land with his beloved wife Leela. The climate of the place, people, and the tradition and culture, the historical importance and background related to the place, and every detail has been provided in a very simple, lucid and easy understandable language by Elwin in the essay. We can easily discover the greatness of Tawang throughout the essay. According to him, if there is any heaven in Nefa, that is Tawang, the ice-covered or snowy hills, crystal clear waterfalls and ponds, birds and animals, all this attract our mind towards the land of Tawang as Elwin describes in the essay. In spite of obstacles and problems in the transport system or communication system due to slopes of hills and narrow road connection, he feels good inside visiting the heaven on the earth, that is Tawang. The journey has changed the author's mindset and view as it pushed him a deep spiritual realization during the journey, basically the Buddha Purnima celebration in the great monastery of Tawang, where he finds the same discipline as he found in the Oxford as well as in the discipline of Cambridge. Now, A Pilgrimage to Tawang. A Pilgrimage to Tawang is a travelogue by Verrier Elwin. Verrier Elwin is a very experienced person who passed away in the year 1963 in Shillong. His life is related to the tribal world as he lived among the tribes of India, basically the tribes of Madhya Pradesh and the tribes of Nepal, Northeast Frontier Agency, that is Arunachal Pradesh, and basically the Northeast. Though an Englishman, he chose India as his native land, and he spent all his life with the tribal people, and he liked so much the tribal traditions and cultures. He tried to reform them by banishing superstitions, superstitious beliefs, and ignorance among them. His life is full of adventures and experience, filled with the knowledge of tribal peoples, their culture, traditions, food, habitations, dressing code, and all other matters related to them. He has visited to many places in India before the independence of India and after the independence of India. And he is one of the greatest anthropologists. And he is considered as the first anthropological leader in India, pre-independence and post-independence India. So, Pilgrimage to Tawang is a travelogue by Verrier Elwin, how he visits Tawang and how he met the people, the Lamas people, local people, the people of Buddhism, and the traditions, cultures, their lifestyle, the climate of the place, the geographical situation of the place, and the importance of the place. The essay has been begun, or Verrier has begun the essay with the description of its importance in the worldwide geographical importance. So the place Tawang came into world news as the first place of importance when Dalai Lama visited the place 4 years before. The author visits the place. Verrier visits the place, that is Tawang, in 1956 May, on May, in the month of May. And the place also came into world news when it was occupied by the Chinese, and a few weeks later it was reoccupied by its local lamas, local people, and the Indian administrators. The author has given a comparison between the journey of Dalai Lama to the place and his journey with his beloved wife Leela and other people also. The only difference between the journey of the Dalai Lama of Dalai Lama to the place and his journey to the place is the only difference is that Dalai Lama came down to the highland, and on the other hand the author had to climb up to the highland, so he just had to follow the opposite route that Dalai Lama followed. Their journey to the beautiful land, highland Tawang, starts from Tezpur, and he drove into the Chardwar, the foot of the mountain, and then from the Chardwar, uh, they he dropped up to 8,000 feet above the mountain, of the foot of the mountain, and after passing 8,000 feet, the road connection was not so good. Though when Dalai Lama visited, the road condition was good, but it was the time when author visits the place. It was the road was not accessible. Okay, there was narrow road, so he had to uh, travel on foot from that place, or they had to use body. So in the travel, he has had to face various difficulties, but the natural situation, the uh, scenery, the beauty, natural beauty of the place always uh, made him happy, enjoying in spite of the obstacles and problems. While walking to the upland, uh, a horrid insect named dimdum flies bite bite him and his wife and other people with them. And the insects left poisoned and itching sores inside the body. So it was poisonous, but though it was poisonous, from they were passing the Silla Pass, there were the streams, hills, flowers, wild berries, oak and pine, smelling pine trees, which they approached uh, before them, before the eyes of them, and this is sacred shrines, with sacred shrines made their uh, problems solved. Their mind was diverted to the sense of beauty, aestheticism, and the aesthetic sense made them happy, though in trouble. He met the different people of the place. They were appreciated in their journey. They were warmly welcomed by the local people. They were garlanded, and special butter tea was served, and this other special drinks like vodka, uh, and strawberry and other local foods were served to them by the local peoples. He had to spend his day and nights. He spends his night in the tent, in the camp, inside the camp, and the experience was just beautiful. There's just pleasant and incomparable to any other beauty. The local people was courteous, gentle, friendly, as he has described in the essay. As their guide and helper in the or helper in the journey, he met R.S. Tag, the political officer of the time, and Sachin Roy was an anthropologist, well known by Verrier Elwin, the author, and and they traveled together to Bamdila. Okay, so the various experiences in the journey has been shared and reflected in a very beautiful way in the essay by Verrier Elwin. He feels soothing inside his heart, uh, looking the various temples, Buddhist temples, and the chanting Om Mani Padme Hum. Okay. The soothing sound was experienced by the author. He met the abode of the great monastery on the way, and he felt so soothing inside his heart. He felt a spiritual realization inside the heart, and the abode was looking so innocent, luminous, gentle, friendly, and it was he was like a real saint. So one can meet such person only once in a life, only once in only once in the whole life. So it was amazing experience with about of the monastery. So various beautiful scenery was enjoyed by the author in the places like Bobdila, Silapas, Dirag, and other places he visited in the way of the highland Tawang. And he had to face some problems. Okay, he went going up the going to the up the going up the highland. There was problems, and it was cold raining. It was cold and raining on the way. Uh, there was suffocation, so problems in breathing. But indeed, uh, instead they enjoyed the peaceful, the peaceful of peaceful situation of nature, and as it was the heaven on earth. He says if there is heaven on earth or on the Defa lands, that is on the lands of Arunachal Pradesh, it was Tawang, and it was Tawang, Silapas, Diraga, these places, okay, are compared to the heaven on earth or heaven on the Defa lands, that is on the lands of Arunachal Pradesh. So it was that beauty. Each and every uh, object was distinctly observed by the, the author and analyzed, and he has described in a very beautiful way this. And finally, he visits the great monastery of Tawang, his ultimate destination. And it was the day of Buddha Purnima, 24th of May. After spending some of the nights and days, they reached, the author and his wife and other peoples, basically his wife and he, reached the great monastery of Tawang. And it was the day of Buddha Purnima, 2500th birth anniversary of Lord Buddha. The people was celebrating the Buddha Purnima in a great way. Trumpets and drums were played. The houses and temples were decorated. The monks were chanting prayers, sitting in long rows inside the monastery with their traditional wearings, traditional robes, or traditional religious cloth. The scenery was pleasant and spiritual. The monastery was decorated with thousands of bulbs, hundreds of small statues, small statues of Lord Buddha were painted on the wall by colored butter, and the designing were painted with colored butter, and the main statue of Lord Buddha inside the monastery was amazing. There was the celebration of the local people of the day, the dancing and singing, uh, prayers, chanting of prayers by the monks. They were also warm welcomed, received by the local peoples and by the authorities of the monastery. They were garlanded and scarves were exchanged in honor to their journey, as honor for their journey to the place. Okay, and there was a big library in one part of the monastery, great monastery. There were about 700 of religious scriptures, religious books, and but the most important thing is the Ketompa. Ketompa is the 8 volume uh, religious book, written in 8 volumes, written in 8 volumes, and the three of the volumes were written in gold, were printed in gold. It was just amazing. The experience was just amazing. And these books were worshipped, even if though these all the books were not learned by them, but these books were worshipped in the festivals. And it was amazing. The author remembered the discipline while uh, at Oxford University, while at Oxford. And there was a great kitchen uh, in the monastery. They were also served the butter tea and other foods foods and drinking. They were served. The author observed the dances, various dance forms, the various dances uh, done by the local people and the authorities of the monastery. The notable dance form is the Tototam. It is the dance form representing the queen and king of death, and this dance implies that man is mortal. We have to leave the world one day, so we should not too much attach. We should not attach ourselves to the world existence too much. We should be aware and we should pray the God. We should we should ask God to forgive us, forgive our sins, and we should ask God's mercy, and we should always remember His greatness. So this Thotondam, the dance for Thotondam implies the uh, Thotondam represents the immortality of human beings. So it is an important dance form that the author has described. And finally, he realizes a spiritual realization inside him. Visiting the great monastery of Tawang, it was the ultimate destination in the journey for him. And as the author was always interested to the Buddhism and the people, Buddhist people, they were friendly, always friendly. He knew them always friendly, courteous, gentle, generous, and religious. He was always interested to the Buddhism, and Buddhism is not just a religion; it is a part of. In Buddhism, it is not a religion, but it is an important part of life. So they celebrate religion as a part of life, and uh, collaborating with the other people in the world. They live friendly and peacefully with other peoples, celebrating their own religion. So the author was always attracted, interested to the Buddhism, and thus he found the ultimate peace inside his heart. His mind was curious to know about these things, and he finally visits the great monastery, and it was like a spiritual realization in his life. He received a spiritual realization inside his heart and mind, and he felt something inside him happy, and just we can say that his views about life uh, had changed, or was changed by the journey. And after visiting the great monastery, they returned to their they returned, or it was the ultimate it was the last goal of their journey to the Tawang. So the author visits, and with his wife visits various places known for their natural situation, natural beauty, streams, sacred shrines, streams, hills, uh, crystal clear ponds and streams, uh, twin lakes, uh, also called the eyes of God, wild berries, flower colored flowers, oak and smelling pine trees, etc., and many more. Overall, the journey is amazing and attractive. The author visited various people, and he meets various people uh, who were gentle, courteous, friendly, and amazing. He visits various places. He experienced the beauty of nature, and finally he receives the spiritual realization inside his heart, visiting the great monastery of Tawang. So it was the journey, an important journey of the author's life. That is the it's a pilgrimage to Tawang. That is why he has titled the essay "A Pilgrimage to Tawang," not as a he could title the he could make the title as a journey to Tawang, but he has titled the essay as a pilgrimage to Tawang. So the author feels and realizes that it is not a journey, but it is a pilgrimage. It is a pilgrimage. So it is the essay where the author has shared his experiences related to his journey, his pilgrimage to Tawang, his visits to the different places on the way to the highland Tawang, is Bobdila, Tirang, Silla Pass, etc. The beautiful natural situation, lakes, streams, crystal clear streams, plants and animals, birds. Okay. uh, and the people, their traditions, their dressing code, and their gentleness, courteousness, and the friendly nature. All these things have been described in the essay. So it is the essay where the author Verrier Elwin has described each and every points he observed during his journey to the place, that is the highland Tawang, and he receives a spiritual realization visiting the great monastery of Tawang. That is why he calls the journey a pilgrimage, not a journey, but it is a pilgrimage because he receives spiritual realization inside his heart. He feels the importance of religious value and feels the importance of human and moral values inside him. Visiting the great monastery, he feels a friendly attitude inside his heart. So it is a pilgrimage to him, not a journey. And thus he has titled the essay a pilgrimage to Tawang. So it is. So thank you for watching the analysis of the essay a pilgrimage to Tawang. And thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new to the channel, and press the bell icon to get regular updates. And please don't neglect to share with your friends. Share with your friends. And if you have any query, you can comment below in the comment section. Please hit the like button. You know the hard work hard work behind a video presentation, so you should appreciate our work, and you should subscribe to the channel. Thank you once again for watching. If you are new and the study materials are important for you, related to your study course, so you should subscribe to the channel. Thank you once again for watching. Have a nice day. May God bless you. Bye bye.